My question is to the Minister for Energy. Can the Minister update my communities regarding the suggested sun tax that has been discussed by the federal government, with each state having to implement this tax from the 1st of July this year? With your leave that in the House, I'll explain further.
Leave is sought. Is leave granted?
Mr Speaker, I am led to understand that this new tax is proposed to be implemented on the 1st of July this year and will mean that people with solar panels currently feeding into the electricity grid will be charged a fee of approximately 1.2 cents per kilowatt and expected it back into the grid during peak solar hours.
The Minister for Energy.
I'd like to thank the member for his question and his deep commitment to his local community, and indeed to making sure that the country is on a decarbonisation path. So retailers have been reducing their feed-in tariffs in response to the lower value of electricity in the middle of the day when solar generation is at its peak supply and outstrips demand. So we're producing more than we need to, which is seeing prices in the middle of the day drop dramatically, and of course is causing some physical damage potentially to the grid. Under new rules for distributed energy exports, exports charging could only apply from the start of SA Power Network's next regulatory period on the 1st of July 2025, which has now been approved by the Independent Australian Energy Regulator. For the upcoming 25-30 regulatory period, an export tariff has been approved by the regulator as part of SA Power Network's tariff structure statement. It provides that a daily tariff-free threshold of 9 kilowatt hours for export from households with an interval meter and an 11 kilowatt hour threshold for those with an accumulation meter. Unused allowances would carry over within a billing period, sir. Above that threshold, sir, a 1 cent per kilowatt export tariff would apply between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. for households with interval meters. A 75 cent kilowatt hour export tariff would apply to accumulation meter households. An export credit would be available for residential and small business customers exporting between 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. in November to March. So the AER considered SA Power Networks justified its need for this pricing, and its proposed tariff were consistent with the various guidelines, pricing principles of the NERD, which is the National Electricity Rules. Now, the best way for consumers to take advantage of their solar system is to use their solar energy generation in their home, replacing energy that might otherwise be bought from the grid. So the whole idea, sir, is to try and change people's behaviour. It's important to note that this structure is not unique to South Australia. It's been rolled out in New South Wales for the same period, and it's been proposed for Victoria for the 26-31 regulatory period. So there's been a significant increase in the volume of solar exports to the grid as households continue to invest in solar systems, and the size of solar systems continue to increase. It's producing generally lower and even negative wholesale prices in the NEM during the middle of the day. Now, retailers' feed-in tariffs reflect the amount of retailer saves by purchasing customers' solar exports instead of purchasing the electricity from the wholesale market. While retailers have been reducing their feed-in tariffs, what it's simply reflecting, sir, is the lower value in the middle of the day. So this is not a government decision. This is not something we have imposed on South Australians. The import and export tariffs are set by retailers in response to market conditions, and there is no obligation to offer a retail feed-in tariff, nor is there a minimum tariff. Many customers feel it's unfair that the feed-in tariff is considerably lower than the retail tariff charged for the energy drawn from the grid. However, that comparison, sir, is not like for like. Retail tariffs recover a range of costs that retailers incur to supply electricity to customers, so that's not reflected in the feed-in tariff costs.